The bombing of a mosque outside the northern Afghan city of Kunduz on Friday killed at least 33 people and injured more than 40. Now, the casualties include children, and this is the third such attack in recent days. It's part of a pattern of coordinated bombings that have plagued the country over recent weeks. The Daesh terror group generally claims responsibility for such incidents. The Taliban, which took control of Afghanistan last August, says it has secured Afghanistan, but attacks still occur. And international officials and analysts warn widespread terrorism could return. For more on this, we're joined now by Ahmad Shuja Jamal. He's a former Afghan official at the Office of Afghanistan's National Security Council and also co-author of the forthcoming book, The Decline and Fall of Republican Afghanistan. Great to have you on the programme. I want to start by asking you, who do you think is behind these latest bombings?
Well, thanks very much for having me on today, Maria. I think it's pretty evident from some of the claimed attacks that the so-called outfit of Islamic State Khorasan is behind the attacks. The outfit has a well-demonstrated history of animosity and antipathy towards the Hazara and the Shia community in Afghanistan. But there are also other attacks that are unclaimed, attacks that have actually occurred because of a lapse in the Taliban regime's protection of this minority community that has been under relentless attack. And so, as you mentioned, the increase in so-called ISIS attacks are actually, they go to the heart of the two core Taliban claims. Number one, that they've actually brought peace to Afghanistan, which they have not. They thought that this would be their main selling point in sort of earning the trust of the traumatized Afghan public that is only reeling from 20 years of Taliban atrocities. And number two, that the Taliban can be a reliable partner for the international community in defeating and fighting back transnational terrorist groups like ISIS. And on both counts, the count that the Taliban have brought peace to Afghanistan and the count that they can be a partner in counterterrorism for the world, the Taliban have failed miserably.
So, Ahmad, what happens now with these security challenges that are facing the Taliban? Can they control everything that's happening, all these attacks, these bombings, or do they need outside help?
I think the trend is pretty evident. The trend is that the Taliban are either sitting back and are unwilling and unable to secure Afghanistan, in particular, the attacks against communities like the Shias and the Hazaras, which the Taliban have actually historically attacked in similar fashion in the past, in the 1990s, but also over the past 20 years. So there is something to be said about the unwillingness of the Taliban to stop these attacks against this community. But there's also that element of inability of the Taliban for failing to have stopped ISIS on this count. But what's really important is that these attacks need to be documented, Maria. The UN Security Council needs to re-empower the UN mission in Afghanistan to resume its investigation of civilian attacks, which they have stopped since the fall of the Afghan Republic and the coming to power of the Taliban. But also the Human Rights Council, which sits in Geneva, should actually empower its special rapporteur, which is Richard Bennett, who is a tremendously experienced person, but requires more empowerment in terms of his mandate, but also resources to conduct his work, for us to understand and get a better picture of the inability of the Taliban, but also the extent of their culpability in allowing these attacks to move forward.
Thank you so much, Ahmad Shuja Jamal. Really important what you said about the inability and also unwillingness there to stop a lot of these attacks. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.